Well, good afternoon, First Baptist Church. Welcome to the Monday blog. We've been working our way through the book of Haggai, and today we're going to look at chapter 2 as we start to dive into the second temple. Let me share my screen. The first thing we see is some other dates, right? In the 7th month, on the 21st day of the month, the word of the Lord came by the hand of Haggai the prophet. And so what does this mean? I mean, there's some real significance in this. Okay, so the 7th month, there would have been the Feast of Booths, which is basically a time where the Israelites would come together and they would dwell in tents. And they would just remember their time as they left Egypt and in their trip to Israel, right? They would just remember those moments, and it'd be feast, and it'd be times where they would come together and they would just remember this moment. And so what's happening here is you have this large gathering of people. And within that large gathering of people, they're starting to see this temple being rebuilt. And those that knew what the temple looked like before understood that this temple wasn't quite as magnificent. It didn't have the gold that the old one did. It was also missing some really important artifacts. One would have been the Ark of the Covenant, which was lost in the destruction of the temple when they were taken to Babylon. The other would have been the eternal flame, the near to mid was what it was called. And this was started and they kept it burning eternally, right? And this wasn't in there either. This was destroyed or taken away when the first temple was destroyed. And so people were kind of being negative about it. And Haggai sees this, and God speaks to him, and this is what he says. He says, "Speak now to the son of Zerubbabel, the son of Shealtiel, the governor of Judah, and to Joshua, the son of Jehozadak, the high priest, and all the remnant of the people." So all this people that have come back, those that have given their faith, those that are dedicated to this rebuilding of the temple. He says it, "Who is left among you who saw this house in its former glory?" And how do you see it now? Well, it's not as magnificent, but I love the fact that it's not as magnificent, because we're going to see later on that the glory isn't necessarily in the temple. The glory is going to be in Jesus. And it might be nothing in your eyes, but look at Jesus. I mean, Jesus wore plain clothing. Jesus was nothing to write home to mom about, but yet internally, he was the Son of God. Jesus himself, the complete package, was the Son of God, but he was seen in a humble way. And how amazing is that? Now, this temple was hardly humble. And in fact, when King Herod comes around, they're going to really expand this thing. And by the time of Jesus, this is quite the endeavor of a project that they take on for this temple. It's so much larger than we could ever really fathom. Some people even say it's like 29 football fields wide if you count the entire courtyard. So this is a massive structure. But this particular structure wasn't that big. It wasn't that magnificent. And yet God is saying right here that they should be strong. All the people of the land, declares the Lord. And he's saying, work. Work. Why? For he is with you. He's behind this project, right? The Lord of hosts, according to the covenant that he made with you when he came out of Egypt, right? He's reminding them of this history that they have, this history that God will protect them and take care of them. And then he tells them, my spirit remains in your midst. Fear not. Fear not. That's what God says throughout the Old Testament. Every time he's reminding them that his spirit is with them. And if they would just be obedient, if they would just do what he asked, God will be in it. And that's what they're doing here. They're rebuilding this temple. Even though there's some difficulty in it, there's some complaining about it. There was a lot of trials and tribulations trying to even get it going. God's saying, my spirit is with you. Keep building. Because this temple is going to be this symbol of something greater. And that greater is Jesus. And so hold on to this. The Messiah is coming, and the Messiah is Jesus Christ, and he has came, and that's something that we can look back to and hold on to as the temple is transformed. God resides inside of us. Now, many of us are very plain. We're very simple, especially in comparison to a God that is infinite. But God yet loves us enough to dwell with us. Do you hold on to that, and are you thankful for it? So thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you guys next week.